remember standing in the mirror and pulling apart whatever was left on my body, which, mind you, was basically nothing. Like, I don't even remember or know how I pulled anything off my body. You could see my collarbones, it was just like very unhealthy.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I got to that point where I was like, okay, I made it, but like, now what? Like, what's next? And everybody, told me how great I looked and how disciplined I was. And that was like a motivator for me, to
yeah.
hear that affirmation as to what I was doing, and validating, the behavior that I was doing behind the scenes. So yes.
I think that there's, myself included, like, still so many of us who think that life's gonna change when we weigh a certain amount, and it might, right? I don't wanna discredit the fact that there is fat phobia in this world, and there is, a lot of harmful biases against bigger bodies, and, you hear all the stories about, roller coasters and airplane seats and just being treated a certain way at a doctor's office. And so, yes, there are aspects of your life that may change in losing weight, but the inner the inner life may
Mhm.
not, right? Like how you think of yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you speak to yourself, if you love yourself or not, like all of that might actually not change, and it's probably more likely that it won't.
Honestly, that's a
Like,
lot of work that I do with clients too. It's like, okay, what are those thoughts or beliefs that you have? Where do they come from? Are they still serving you? Are they even true? Like,
yeah.
really unpacking a lot of that, because we have so many, like you said, just nuggets ingrained, or things people have said to us, or ways that our parents were around food that have now influenced our relationship with food. And then even thinking beyond that, the next generation, right? How we speak to our children and how they
Mhm.
perceive food. And it's like, we could actually do a lot of work to make that better for them, so they don't have to struggle with that if we do the work first ourselves.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
so I've been working with my current therapist for probably probably another 8 or 10 months or so. I don't think a full year yet, but she has completely changed my life, and absolutely is just the person that I was meant to be with. Just,
Mhm.
she is someone that is able to meet me in those little baby Jenna days where maybe I was taught something, or I I perceived success in a certain way, or my feelings were kind of just like pushed to the side. Like,
Mhm.
all of that has now come out to this point where now I feel just so much gratitude for my younger self. And
It was basically like, if you've seen Mean Girls, it was like a burn book, but, like, just about myself.
oh gosh.
Like, it was all pictures. I had, like, cut out pictures of myself where I thought I looked fat
Oh,
and, like, printed them out, put them
oh,
all in, like, pages of, like, copy pages, and wrote things, like, across the pictures and in the white space of just, like, this girl is like, this girl meaning me, like, this girl is lazy, this girl, like, is fat, this girl doesn't take care of herself. I've done enough work now to not be crying
mhm,
as I
mhm,
tell that, and
mhm.
I've also done enough work now to not be, like, insanely just, like, furious. I think so, maybe, like, laughter comes out because, like, I don't really know how to feel about that at the moment.
Mm.
Like, it's not sad, it's not angry, it's not, certainly not content. It's just like, "How do
Yeah.
I feel about that?"
And so for me, it happens behind the scenes, and typically just within like my thought. It's like all in my brain. I don't feel any sort of like body sensations. I don't
Okay.
feel heart racing. I don't get anything like that. And I've always kind of hated that about it, because it wasn't visible.
Mm,
And so it's one of those things that you struggle with that other people cannot see.
mhm,
And I think that that is always harder to convey. With most people in my life who know me know that I have struggled with anxiety in the past. I've really gotten away from saying I have anxiety and
I know
not
it's
saying
hard.
it.
I
And
feel you on that.
you probably
Yeah.
you probably heard me kind of not say that
Yeah.
on purpose, because I don't that is not my identity. It's an emotion that I experience,
Mhm.
just like any other emotion. So I've kind of just understood it as that. and allowed it to come and go as it needs to. And more recently, I've just been in a season of, like I said a little bit earlier, but just kind of like letting go, coming back to my heart and guiding from that place. And I've felt so much less anxious in my body, in my, mental health, in every place. And I'm like, wow, this is what I needed to do all along. I don't even want to tell you how you're
Yeah.
going to release. I want you to get to the point, hopefully before you feel completely like I need to let go, I'm burnt out. Hopefully it's before then,
Mhm.
but on your own timing and in your own like trajectory, whatever that looks like. Because
Yeah.
if I kept following what everybody else was saying, how to manage anxiety, how to do these things, how to get healthy, how to do all the stuff, I would have never gotten to this place
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
felt such an ownership over it as I do now.
Yeah.
I have a weekly newsletter. It's called the Growth Notes. And the point is like little seeds along
Yeah.
the way. Like that's my goal, is to
I
just plant
love
little seeds.
that. Yeah, that's good.
And my business is harvest coaching, so it kind of like makes sense. I also don't love like flowers, so it's more, I picture more like a garden in terms of like vegetables and things.
Okay.
Just to get the visual. But when we take these seeds and we plant them, that we're going to water them, we're going to nurture them, but they might not come to life for you in this season, right?
Mhm.
It might be something that you pick up in a totally different context, in a totally different phase of life.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so beautiful and special about it, because then it becomes yours, then it's unique to you.
Yeah.
And I think that analogy just kind of ties this concept together of you building, your own unique garden and understanding that, okay, these are little seeds that I'm planting, like things that just like really resonate with you. And you're like, oh yeah, that felt good. Like put that in your garden, right?
Mhm.
Nurture that, save that. That's going to come to fruition in some way.
Mhm.
It's not that there's something wrong with you. I think we often take and absorb a lot of the blame, like, well, I couldn't do that process that so and so did that made them successful. So then it must be me. I must be the problem. And I want to encourage you to challenge that thought. And instead of that, like, actually recognize that you're not the problem. It just didn't work for you.
Yeah.
And that gives you the space to determine, what about that did work for me? What about that didn't work for me? And that's how you start to build together your own version of a healthy lifestyle or whatever you're working on.